An important goal for children with ASD is social interaction. So we use play activities to build this skill. Since the goal is to make the activity as fun and motivating as possible, we build interaction skills through play. ESDM provides a specific play routine to follow that builds imitation, builds turn-taking skills, and builds interaction. So what you want to do first is when the child is not already engaged in an activity, you want to approach them and get their attention. So you would join them and greet them. Hello, friend, what are you playing? Or what would you like to play? And sort of see what the child's choice of activity would be, and ask them, you can give them a choice of two. Do you want to play cars or do you want to play bubbles? But they may bring you to something that they like, or you may just be sitting there and watching them, observing them for a little while until they get engaged in an activity. So you could be providing options for them non-verbally, just kind of like, oh, here's a cool car, or how about these balls? How about this block? And so trying to get them engaged. And so definitely it's really important that you pick an activity that the child is motivated by and that can take that you can actually interact with them with. So if they are focused on Play-Doh, that's a perfect thing. So you can sit with them, sit across from them, and do Play-Doh. Sometimes what happens is a child will have a really hard time sharing, and that happens more often than not. So they'll be playing a game like a ball tower where they just have one ball and they just keep putting the ball in over and over again. Those games are harder to break into when you first know the child, because it does take a little bit of finesse to break in and take your turn. So I would choose something that's a little bit easier that you can take turns with. And then as you're doing the activity, so child's here, you're here, think of it as more parallel play. So you're playing next to the child. You may help them. So by handing them an item that you know that they need. So if he's playing with Play-Doh, you hand them the roller or the cookie cutter. Basically what you want to do is get them used to having you around and somewhat interested in you. So maybe referencing what you're playing with. Maybe when they take the rolling pin away from you, they might look up at your eye for a minute. But again, this is not the time to make big demands on the child. It's a time to be a play partner. So to start, you're playing parallel play, and maybe you're both doing Play-Doh. And then what you want to do is hook the child's attention by something. So sometimes what I'll do with Play-Doh is I'll roll it, and then I'll make all my actions really big. Like I'll go pat, 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 and then, oh, look at what I made, and like make it really cool, fun. Or if it's got to be easier, then I might take the end of the roller and just use it to make holes in the Play-Doh, and make a sound that goes with it. Dot, 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 dot. So something that is noticeable. You usually use your voice. You usually do something that's really cool, and then catch their interest. Once you have their interest, then do something really inviting to get them to attend to you. So move in some way in front of them, so you get eye to eye and you're across from them. And so you've got an activity that they're motivated by. They're kind of looking at you and they're kind of like, okay, what do you got? Show me some tricks. So once you're in that position, you want to turn it into a bit of a game. So first you repeat it 2 or 3 times. So if we're going to do the rolling pin and the Play-Doh, I would do dot, 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 dot. And I go, oh, look, I made some dots in my Play-Doh. Look at that. And then I would hand them the rolling pin. Do you want to do dots? And if they are interested but aren't sure how, then I could do a hand over hand, dot, dot, dot. Or if they aren't really interested at all, I might go back and try something else. Like maybe they weren't really interested in the dot, dot, dots, but maybe they're interested in the animals that they're cutting with. Or sometimes I'll just observe and see what they're doing and build on that. So if they like the fish cutter and they keep going fish, like pressing it, I might go, oh, there goes the fish. Are you making fish? And like I might say, can I borrow that? And ask them if I could have the fish thing and make my own fish. So it's a lot about about just getting their interest at first. Do something that would get their interest. So say that they love the idea of dot 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 in the Play-Doh. So I would do it 2 or 3 times, get their attention, and then what you want to do is make it big and fun so it holds their attention. So you might grab the roller and be extra silly with the dot dot dots. I might go dot 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 dot. Look at all these dots, and make the child laugh. Like, oh, that's funny. She's making big dots and she's being so silly. And then when I got their attention and they're looking at me and they're waiting for me, and they're not really sure what to do and what I'm going to do, then I pause and I wait and I look at them. So I have my roller and I'm like, and I really do. I make that face. It's crazy. Sometimes they get scared. And then you hold and you wait, and then looks like you're going to repeat it, but maybe you're going to wait a little bit longer. And what you're waiting for is any sort of sign or signal that they want you to do it again. So it may be that they look down at the roller or look down at the Play-Doh, or they are just waiting for you. And then I would do it again. Dot, 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 dot. And then I'd wait and look and see if there's another signal. And if I see the signal or a sound, then I would do it again, dot, dot, dot. Or if the child does it with their Play-Doh, that's amazing. So I would, if they start doing dot, 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 then I would wait. And then I would do it after them. I'd go dot, 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 dot. And then they do it again, dot, dot, dot. So it's like a back and forth. And that's the basis for turn taking, for communication. So if they can take turns during play, imitate what you're doing, and then it goes back and forth, then that's the really the foundational piece of turn taking. So then the other pieces that we're looking at is, you want balanced communication. So that's the big part about I do something, then you do something, then I do something, then you do something. And then when they start losing interest, that's when we usually clean up. Right before they're about ready to bolt from the table, I would say, oh, I'm all done with dot, dot, dots, and then clean it up. Because in ABA, ESDM, we clean up everything. So as soon as an activity is done, we clean it up. We are consistent, we put the top on, and then we move on to the next activity. And so you want to do these things and make them a routine by doing them the same way. So then the next day, you want to find that same child and you want to get out that Play-Doh and you want to do the dot, 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 dots and see if you can get the child to imitate you again. Because from there you can build and build. So here's some more strategies that are specific for teaching turn taking that are ESDM based. So first, as I said, you can dot, 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 dot. And if the child imitates you, then you know that they want to continue. So what you want to try to do is get them to verbalize more or more dots or dot, 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 but something to let you know that they want to imitate what you're doing or they want to interact with you. And so you go back and forth and you take a few turns, dot, 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 up, dot, 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 and then dot, 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 and then dot, dot, dot. So then the most exciting part is making a variation happen. The reason you want to do a variation is because most of the kiddos that we work with that have ASD have a really hard time being flexible in their thinking. So you may see a child always play with the same toy always the same way, and that's because they can't visualize another way to play with it. So this is where you do something different. So I would dot, 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 and then I'd roll, roll, roll. And then I would see what the child does. They might do dot, 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 or they might try roll, roll, roll. If you get them to do roll, 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 that's huge. And you'd be like, oh, roll, roll, roll. And you do it, as many times as you can. The variation piece is really important when you're doing the turn taking. So if you can do, 3 or 4 turns back and forth first to establish that first movement, and then you make the variation, then the child will, it just is much more effective. So then you start again, dot, 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 roll, roll, roll. And then you can add different variations. So you could take a cookie cutter and go push, push, push. But I do highly recommend that you use words to go with actions. It's because just imitating a word with an action helps the child get the words out a little bit more easily. So if you can add the word to it, that's a really great way to get started with turn taking. It's the same way if a kiddo likes like cars going down a ramp. They're putting the car down the ramp, you're putting the car down the ramp. And the last time it goes down the ramp, I might drive it in, and if it's one of those cute little car stations, I might say, oh, I'm going to get gas in my car. Shh. And then I put it back up and roll it down the hill. And the kid's like, what did she just do? Let me try that. So it's a lot about just teaching them how to play with toys and then giving them really great feedback when they do it. So it makes it so much fun that they're motivated to continue.